So what if I told you that creativity isn't some magical gift you're either born with or you're not? What if it's not like lightning, striking randomly? We're going to dive into the science that shows you can actually engineer your own genius. Yeah, this isn't about sitting around waiting for inspiration to hit. It's about building it on demand.
You know the feeling, right? You're staring at a problem or a blank page, and your brain just feels, well, empty. It is so frustrating. It feels like you've hit this invisible wall, and you just can't seem to break through.
But here's the absolute game changer. All this new research in neuroscience and psychology is telling us that creativity is actually a process. Think of it like a muscle. And just like any other muscle in your body, you can train it, you can make it stronger, and you can learn how to use it whenever you need it most.
Okay, so let's really get into this. We're going to forget all about that myth of the lone genius having a eureka moment in a bathtub. Instead, we're going to look at the practical reality, which is that pretty much anyone can learn to be more innovative once you understand how it all works under the hood.
Right, so if we're going to hack the system, we first need to understand the hardware we're working with. How does our brain, this amazing 3-pound universe we carry around, actually come up with a brand new idea? It turns out it's not magic at all. It's a very specific biological process.
The whole thing really boils down to this core concept called combinatorial creativity. And it's actually a pretty simple idea when you think about it. Your brain doesn't just create ideas out of thin air. No, it takes all your old ideas, your memories, different concepts you've learned, and it just mashes them together in new and surprising ways. So basically, every new idea is just a remix of what you already know.
And you've got 3 key networks in your brain making all this happen. You could think of it like a little startup company in your head. First, you have the default mode network. That's your wild, freewheeling brainstormer connecting totally random thoughts when you're just spacing out. Then there's the executive network. That's the focused CEO, the one who takes those wild ideas and tries to turn them into a concrete plan. And finally, you've got the salience network. Think of it as the sharp investor who looks at the plan and decides, yep, this one's actually worth pursuing. Turns out, really creative people just have stronger, faster connections between these 3 departments.
This brings us to the creative process itself. And you'll see it's not just one single event. It's more like a 4-stage journey. First, you prepare. You gather all the info, all the fuel for your brain. Then you incubate. This is key. You step away and let your subconscious mind do all the heavy lifting. After that, hopefully, comes the aha moment, that spark of illumination. But you're not done yet. Then you have to verify it, test it, and build on it to see if it's actually any good.
All right, so now that we know how the machine works, it's time to open up the toolkit. What we've got here are practical, science-backed strategies you can start using today to supercharge every single stage of that creative process we just talked about.
First things first, we got to get our physical and mental state dialed in. I mean, you can't run amazing creative software on buggy, glitchy hardware, right? So these first few hacks are all about creating the perfect internal environment for those new ideas to show up.
This might be the simplest and honestly the most powerful hack of them all. Just moving your body, especially walking, literally changes your brain. It gets more blood flowing up there, and it releases chemicals that actually encourage the growth of new connections. It's kind of like you're fertilizing your brain, getting it ready for new ideas to sprout. And listen, this isn't just a vague feeling. There's real data. A huge study out of Stanford found that walking increased a person's creative output by an average of 60%. 60! The takeaway here couldn't be simpler. If you feel stuck, get up and go for a walk. Your next great idea might literally be just a few steps away.
And this is not a new idea. Philosophers and great thinkers have known this for centuries. Nietzsche wasn't just being poetic here. He really understood that the rhythm of walking somehow unlocks the mind. It lets it wander and make those surprising connections it can't make when you're just sitting still.
Okay, let's talk about another crucial reset: sleep. And the contrast here is, wow, it's stark. Not getting enough sleep absolutely tanks your creative capacity. It's a creativity killer. But quality sleep, that's your brain's private nightly workshop. It's where it incubates ideas, remixes memories, and forges all these incredible new connections you'd never make when you're awake.
So, our mind and body are reset and ready to go. The next set of hacks is all about breaking out of those mental ruts we all get stuck in. See, our brains love efficiency, which means they absolutely love routines. But you know what hates routine? Creativity.
So here's the deal with routine. It makes our brains lazy. It just runs on autopilot. Novelty, on the other hand, is like a jolt of electricity to your brain. New experiences stimulate the brain's reward system, they make us better at spotting new patterns, and they boost our cognitive flexibility, all of which are absolutely essential ingredients for innovation.
And you really don't have to book a trip around the world to get this novelty fix. It can be incredibly simple. Take a different route home from work. Read an article about something you know nothing about. Or here's a radical one. Put your phone away and just let yourself be bored for a few minutes. That forces your brain to look inward and start creating its own entertainment. Okay, our final cluster of tools. We're moving from just preparing our brain to actively generating ideas. These are structured exercises designed to force your brain to get off its usual path and produce ideas right when you need them. A fantastic tool for this is something called the Scamper method. Really, it's just a checklist of questions that forces you to look at a problem from 7 completely different angles. It's a system for pushing past your first most obvious thoughts and digging down to find the truly innovative solutions.
And finally, please, don't try to do it all alone. Bringing different kinds of minds together is a true creativity multiplier. Every single person brings their own unique set of dots to the table, and it's in the messy, wonderful intersection of all those different perspectives that real breakthroughs happen.
So, let's bring this all home. The big takeaway here is that you are in the driver's seat of your own creativity. It is not some fixed trait that you're stuck with. It is something you can actively, purposefully cultivate and engineer for yourself. And while we're at it, let's just bust one of the biggest, most damaging myths out there. This idea that you get less creative as you get older. It's just flat out wrong. In fact, you could argue the opposite is true. The more life experience you have, the more dots you've collected in your brain. Your job just becomes getting better at connecting them.
Always remember, your brain is plastic. That means it can change. Every single time you try one of these hacks, you go for that walk, you read something new, you use a tool like Scamper, you are physically strengthening the neural pathways for creativity. You are literally rewiring your brain to be more innovative. How cool is that?
So it's really not a matter of if you have creative genius inside you. It's there. It's a matter of how you choose to unlock it. The tools are here, the science is clear, so the only real question left is, how are you going to engineer it? Which hack are you going to try today?